So everybody's been asking me to read Haunting Adeline for a long time, and I have said no repeatedly. Somehow I got sucked into reading the prequel, a dark mafia romance that had too many pages and too little plot, and spicy scenes that made me want to press charges. Let's talk about it, I suppose. Hi, my name's Rachel, and today we're talking about Phantom by H.D. Carlton. This is a dark romance that is a prequel sort of to Haunting Adeline, but you don't have to read one to read the other. But then again, you also don't benefit by reading the prequel either way. Anyway, this book is about the titular Adeline's grandmother, Gigi, and the phantom stalker she fell in love with, who's also a mafioso. Gigi gets brought up in Haunting Adeline. Adeline finds Gigi's journals in her haunted house, and in these journals it discusses Gigi's life before she was murdered. So that's the life we see in this book, Phantom. Gigi falling in love with her stalker. When did they fall in love, you ask? I read the book and I'm honestly not really sure. We just sort of breezed past that whole part and got straight into This was supposed to be a short novella, according to the author, and it ended up being a full book, but it didn't justify itself being a full book. It ends on a cliffhanger, and by that I mean they're doing the do hanging off a cliff. Before we even get there, this guy starts sneaking into her house and watching her sleep like mafioso Edward Cullen, and she's just unaware of this. I do sleep as hard as this main character thanks to today's sponsor, Beam, and their natural sleep beverage, Dream. I have trouble falling asleep on my own and staying asleep. Maybe I'm haunted by a phantom. Who knows? My hack for this lately is Beam's Dream. I love the cinnamon hot cocoa and the sea salt caramel. I feel like the caramel was my favorite, but I really like the cinnamon cocoa this week. I don't know. It's nice to have options, but I think this week I'm just like a cinnamon cocoa girl. I think it's the season. I don't know. It's so good. Dream contains melatonin as well as magnesium, which is great because on top of having crippling anxiety that keeps me up at night, I also have restless leg syndrome at night. So I used to take magnesium supplements to help with this, but Beam has killed two birds with one stone, but in a delicious warm beverage. Who doesn't want to drink hot chocolate instead of taking disgusting supplements? I love a warm beverage, especially at night. I like a decaffeinated tea with cream, but this hits that same spot while also helping me fall asleep. Dream has become a really soothing part of my nightly routine where now I'm able to just wind down and fall asleep easily without waking up groggy. So I'm not just staying up, overthinking the same 5 things and getting restless legs. I'm falling asleep faster and staying asleep. Dream is a luxurious and all-natural sleep beverage that has improved 18.5 million nights of sleep. Give yourself the gift of a good night's sleep this holiday season, and there's never been a better time because Beam extended their cyber sale just for you, so you can grab Dream at up to 50% off. The lowest price ever with code READSWITHRACH. Just click that link below and use my code to get yourself on your way to a good night's sleep. And thank you so much to Beam for sponsoring today's video. So let me read you the synopsis of Phantom by H.D. Carlton. Why I read this is because my best friend Natalie and I were like, we should buddy read something with our other friend Marinez, and Natalie talked us into reading Phantom. Somehow, I don't know, it's all a blur. All I know is all of a sudden we were all reading this book. I can get sucked into a buddy read really quick. I am not immune to peer pressure in the slightest. If 2 or more of my friends are like, we're reading a book, I'm like, me too! The Married Woman of the Manor, The Stranger Outside, an intoxicating novel of dark temptation and dangerous desire. It was November 12th, 1944. This house holds on to souls for a lifetime. I thought I had given it to my husband when I vowed to love him until the end of time. I lied. Nothing could have prepared me for the day my phantom appeared outside my window. He was terrifying yet hypnotizing, and I couldn't deny my intrigue. I never intended to fall into a whirlwind romance with my stalker, especially because he's so much more than that. A criminal, a mobster, the man who offers me solace from the monster in Parsons Manor. There are many that haunt these halls, yet it's only my husband I fear. This sounds like a different book than what I read. Now, the funny thing about this is that, and I'm sure Natalie already mentioned this in her review, but Gigi is said to have blonde hair in Haunting Adeline. And then in this book, she doesn't. So continuity, where? Also, I feel like this was like a prompt that we decided on, but then we didn't actually write the story being presented in the synopsis, which is like an ongoing problem I'm noticing. This book starts with a glossary of terms. So it's 1944 in the United States. We needed the book to explain to us basic terms like blabbermouth means someone who talks too much. Bust your chops means to to scold or chastise someone. Gobbledygook is talking nonsense. Magazine, an ammunition storage and feeding device for a firearm. Numbskull, a dull, stupid, or dim-witted person. Problem, a liability, likely to be murdered. Whack, ice, burn, pop, clip means to murder. So, you know, it needs to explain basic terms to you. I feel like with context clues, those could have been picked up on, but alright. So it explains that our main character, Gigi, had her husband build them this house because she loves an aesthetic. Gigi has a deep love for Gothic literature, and as a child, her mother had trouble getting my nose out of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or my favorite Edgar Allan Poe stories. Which one? Doesn't say. As a child, I told her I wanted to live in a house that was built to look like the inside of their brains. Gothic, dark, spooky, I'd even say.
Oh, symbolism.
It also has like a excerpt from like a conversation sort of between the Phantom and Gigi. I know everything about you, just as I know you will love me too. And he loves her already, even though all he does is stalk her. I don't know. It's really stupid. Chapter 1 is in the Phantom's POV. This will be the third man I've whacked today.
He's upstairs taking a bath.
Now, I guess if you don't know that whacked means kill, you're thinking that this guy is giving handies, which honestly, I would have preferred. He's doing mob business, and we have sentences that are very interesting. He's talking about how when he whacks somebody, it's their damn talking that threatens the peace I find after making a heart stop. What? So this book is setting him up in chapter 1 to be a guy who finds it peaceful to murder people, and yet there's no continuity for this throughout the rest of the book. So he's about to kill this young guy named Worm. You're a rat, Worm.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
You were feeding information to the Baldellis. And already I'm feeling like we're watching that Angels with Filthy Souls from, you know, that fake movie that Kevin McAllister is watching in Home Alone. It should have been clear from chapter 1 that the Mafia stuff in this is pointless, poorly written, doesn't serve a purpose other than being set dressing, not fully fleshed out. He kills this guy who was doing shady mafia shit. The rival family had paid him off for something. Doesn't actually matter. We're not actually here for story and plot. We're here to watch the Phantom dick down Gigi in her haunted house. The house is not haunted. Well, the house is haunted in the same way that he is a mafioso, in that he's not, it's set dressing, sort of like, I don't know, you ever watch a porn and you just like, no, that man's not a doctor. It's like that, except this isn't a porn, this is a book, and I was expecting a story. He kills the guy, it says, some goddamn peace and quiet. I roll my neck, finally, relieving the tension gathered in my shoulders. My dyslexia just fucked up that sentence, I'm sorry. I can tell I just messed it up. Not only is their begging useless, but quite bothersome too. So he is tasked by the mafioso guy that he works for to go check in on somebody named John Parsons, who is Gigi's husband.
All right, Johnny, but what about my money?
So he's sent to go watch the house or something. I'm not really clear on what they were going to do to John Parsons. But he gets to the house where he's supposed to watch John Parsons, or I don't know, something. And obviously it's Gigi's house. Gigi's Gothic manor house with the black siding and gargoyles posed on top of the roof. It looks like it came straight out of the Dracula film. Wow, thank you for that description. He locks eyes with Gigi through a window. No, he doesn't lock eyes with her. He sees Gigi, and immediately, I'm entirely smitten by her, and though there's no way for me to know, I'm confident she's the mastermind behind Parsons Manor. You're right. There is no way for you to know that. You're looking at a woman through a window. How the fuck would you possibly know that she's the one who decorated this bitch? What are you saying? I'm not only riveted by her, I'm possessed by a need to have her, and she must be mine. God, what are you, Daniel, looking at Bathsheba? This is so dumb. My free will is indebted to her, and without her I am nothing. You just saw her for the first time ever. We're in chapter 1, my guy.
Da-dee-da. Oh my gosh, I must have her. I know I've never been in love or even thought about love, but that girl I saw for 30 seconds, she's the love of my life.
Her husband has unintentionally dragged her into a world where she doesn't belong, yet it is I who will never let her leave. Wow. Great writing. John Parsons is indebted to the Mafia for something. At this point, I don't know that we've really learned much about that, but he's a gambler. And so the Phantom, the Stalker, is required to go to his house for some reason that I can't even fucking remember, and immediately falls in love with the gambling man's wife and is obsessed with the fact that she clearly decorated this gothic manor, even though he has no way of knowing that. That's the book so far. Great. Chapter 2, The Raven. 5 men have perished in this house. And this is meaningless to the story. What's that got to do with me? Why should I care about that? The ghosts are like briefly mentioned. Honestly, I wish she had fucked a ghost. Like, I wish we had had a moment where we realized that the Phantom's actually a phantom. He's a ghost. Or he's like the Phantom of the Opera. I wish that was what was going on here. You know, in dreams, he came to me. She was asleep when he, is watching her. And instead, it's just stupid mafia drama that ends on a abrupt end after they've boned on a cliff. Like, I'm just warning you that this is a nothing burger of a book. So, of course, to make it easy for her to have nobody to talk to and just fill the pages with nonsense, we don't give her any family on page. We don't give her any friends on page. We give some lip service to their existence and then don't do anything with them at all. So she has nobody to turn to when she finds out that her husband is spending all of their money and drinking and gambling.
What money?
We're in danger of losing our home. There isn't enough money to pay our mortgage, let alone any of the utilities. He spent almost everything. How will we support Serafina? They have a 14-year-old daughter, I believe. Feed her, clothe her, ensure she sleeps in a warm bed. She works in a deli after school a few days a week to learn some responsibility and fund her war tax stamps, and truthfully, to sustain her ice cream addiction too. The kid in this is kind of weird because like the way it's written about feels like it's written by somebody who doesn't really understand the age of the child that they're writing about. She sounds like extremely young for this age. Then we just go back to her talking about how much she loves her gothic manor and how the society around them has sort of turned up their noses to her and her family because of their gothic manor, and how 5 men died working on it. And she thinks that the 5 men who died working on her house haunt it. I'm gonna be honest, I forgot where we were. Does anybody else remember? Help! Can I get some help from the class? Our main character, Gigi, is yelling at her husband, or she's mad at her husband, John, because he has gambled away their life saving. I've married a dip, she says. She says, I married a dip. Do you realize how unbelievably dangerous that is? John, if you're caught, you could end up in the hoosgow. Or worse, you could... I can't even bear to finish that sentence. Point is, they're fighting because John is a gambler. This book opens up chapters in Gigi's POV with excerpts from her journal. And these are completely redundant. I understand we're probably regurgitating them from Haunting Adeline, but we don't actually need to do that. We don't need to see the regurgitated excerpts from Gigi's journal because we're seeing what happened in real time. I don't know why we're bothering. All this did was puff up the word count on a book that already doesn't have a plot. It does not justify itself. Chapter 3, The Raven. Gigi. April 4th, 1944. There's a strange man outside my window. He wears a black fedora.
Well, look, found themselves back at my doorstep, huh?
He wears a black fedora and a trench coat, and he shields his face from me.
I thought I'd seen the last of your beautiful body when I watched your back walk away from me on Fifth Ave.
This is the first time I've seen him. Oh, this isn't the first time I've seen him, sorry. And I'm convinced he's here for John. Okay, doesn't even offer an explanation as to what else he could be there for. She's just convinced. For 2 weeks now, my husband's been working on getting our money back. Each night it's a different story. He wins some, only to go belly up. This book keeps using particular language that reminds me of Sleep Token songs. And so I'm like, is this on purpose? Are we bringing him into this? I have a picture of Vessel over there. I had hoped he was no more than an apparition when I first saw him. Even through the glass, I swear I can feel his burning stare.
Oh my gosh, I must have her.
It's caressing my face. His stare is caressing her face. His stare is caressing her face down the column of my throat and over my breasts. An undeniable burn has settled low in my stomach, something I haven't experienced in years, not since John and I first began courting. It mentions that they have 1 daughter and they can't have any more because of medical issues. There's always been a residual pain on the back side of my heart, grieving the children I'd never have. What an odd way to phrase that on the backside of your heart. I wasn't aware that a heart had a backside. I understand what we're trying to say. I'm just saying that seems like a silly way to say it. Chapter 4, The Phantom. That's Mr. Mafioso. My feet carried me to her as if I was in a trance, my body no longer mine to control but hers. She sat in her rocking chair and turned to look out the window, and it was like feeling the sun warming my face for the first time in years after being trapped in a dark dungeon. That is such an overly long sentence for no reason. We could have cut down word count just in examples like this. Like this, again, this has no plot and is a full-length book. It was supposed to be a novella, ended up a full-length book because we padded it up to all hell. For instance, we could have taken this sentence and said, it was like feeling the sun warming my face after years of darkness. We just cut down significant amount of words there. He's feeling sad because he's watching her be with her family, this woman that he's stalking, because he's supposed to be watching her husband. Her daughter is dancing, her like 14-year-old daughter. I don't know. This again, it sounds like the daughter's a lot younger than she actually is. I feel a small pang in my chest knowing I don't have the privilege of joining them. I'm destined to watch from afar outside the bay window. If I have it my way, someday in the future, John will be gone, and Serafina, the daughter, will know me as a secondary father. I would never attempt to replace John. All right, we get it. You're not the dad, you're just the dad who stepped up. We get it. And then it gives like brief mention to the ghosts that live on the property, which we do all of nada with. He says he sees angry faces sometimes hiding in the tree line. They don't scare me though. I face far worse souls than those of a few construction workers. Construction workers died while creating her Edgar Allan Poe inspired house, and they're just there to like creep along in the background, I guess. I get that not everything can be The Haunting of Hill House, the TV show specifically, but if we're just gonna do nothing with it, then what was the point? Why did we even waste any word count on it? He considers shooting her husband and then goes on to talk about how much he wants to fuck Gigi. The carnal impulse to take her here and now is becoming difficult to suppress. I'd make her pathetic husband watch, unable to stop me from making his wife come undone in a way that he will never accomplish. Now, that's an odd thing to say. It's weird. It's kind of gross because that's sexual assault upon her husband. I understand you want to fuck his wife. Hopefully you want to do so consensually, but you making her husband watch is in fact sexual assault. And I don't find it sexy just because John's a bad dude. And then later, the main character also says this. Gigi's also talking about how she's going to make John watch her get boned by this mafioso guy. I'm a bad man, but I won't be her monster. No, I want to be her savior. She gets milk delivered and he's watching this happen and he doesn't like that the milkman is being nice to Gigi.
Leave it on the doorstep and get the hell out of here.
God forbid a man be nice to a woman.
I'm gonna give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no good keister off my property.
The next chapter opens with Gigi, her journal specifically, saying that she wrote a letter to her friend Daisy. Daisy does not actually come on page. Daisy is just like briefly mentioned a few times, completely pointless. I told her the truth about John and his gambling, expressed how utterly heartbroken I am over my husband's actions. I miss when we were young girls, always up to no good and the best of friends. Back then, our biggest stress was homework and quizzes. And while Daisy didn't have the best home life, like me, blah, 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 like none of this matters to the story. She keeps waiting for the mystery man to keep like showing up outside her window. And one day she's doing some stuff at the house, you know, housewife stuff. And she hears her daughter come in. She goes, "Hey, how was school, sweet pea?" Except it's not her daughter. That's when the awareness comes barreling back to me, my eyes snapping to the clock above the stove. It's only 11 in the morning. Sarah wouldn't be home yet. His scent envelops me first. It's intoxicating in my frazzled brain.
I knew it was you. I could smell you getting off the elevator.
Takes a moment to process the notes. Sandalwood, oranges, and a hint of tobacco. She notices his all-black attire with his fedora.
Well, look, found themselves back at my doorstep, huh?
Trench coat, button-up shirt, trousers, and dress shoes. Should be a drab outfit, but he looks expensive, thanks to the glinting gold ring adorning his pinky finger. Even smells expensive. That, I feel like, should have gone in a different area, because right after you say you're talking about his pinky ring, it sounds like you're saying the pinky ring smells expensive. Now, of course, we have this book doing heterochromia, except it's not heterochromia. He has gone blind in one eye, and instead of having a pupil, it's just entirely blue. So he has one all blue eye. This man, he commands the very lungs beneath my bones. What? What is this writing? What's your name? He doesn't speak. And then he leaves. He just walked in to look at her. John comes home drunk. I'm telling you, Gigi, Hitler ain't gonna win this war. I just know it, he slurs. My God, John, how much have you had to drink? So he has been gambling and drinking, of course, because that's what her no good, dirty, rotten husband does. They get into an argument. We open the next chapter, which is the Phantom's POV, but we open with her journal. So it is also in his POV that we get her journal excerpts for absolutely no reason. But it's just talking about how the Phantom showed up. It's just her saying the Phantom showed up. Cool. Look, we were there. I saw. If there's one thing sorry. If there's one thing I've learned about Genevieve Parsons, that's her full name, is that she is as devoted to writing in her journal as she is to her husband. I have no plans to come between her and her penmanship, but the latter, that I would love nothing more than to change. She's devoted to writing in her journal as she is to her husband. I have no plans to come between her and her penmanship. Okay, I understand what we're saying. I just don't understand why we're saying it like that. So John manages to pay off his debt, but then digs himself into another hole. So now he has 3 months to pay back the debt that he owes. The debt that I owe. Sleep token. This man finally goes into her house again, and she's like, that's it. I'm gonna make him talk to me. If you wanted to hurt me, you would have by now. She's wrong. I do want to hurt her. Whoa. Okay. Wow. I'd love nothing more than to see her bare ass reddened by my hand. Oh, brother. Or the faintest of bruises around her neck from where my fingers grip as I drive into her, and those beautiful eyes filled with tears, pleading for me not to go any deeper down her throat. Husbands don't hurt their wives the way I want to hurt her. I just think this is odd because later, John does sexually assault Gigi, and it's bad when John does it, agreed, but him saying he wants to do that is somehow fine, I guess, in the narrative. It's hot when he threatens to do it, but it's not okay when John does it. It's actually not okay from either of you. You're both gross. I want to hit both of these men with my car. Why won't you speak to me? She asks. Because she's not ready. She's not ready to hear what I plan to do with her. To her. Blech. So he doesn't talk to her yet. We then get some scenes with the Mafia that are completely irrelevant. None of this actually matters. So why should I bother? Why should I bother explaining it to you? It's all here as set dressing, and I don't care about that. I wanted an actual plot, and it didn't give that to me. There's an entire shootout at the Mafia meetup. It literally does not matter. How are you going to make a shootout not matter? Ah! In Gigi's POV, she is thinking about the fact that her husband is a piece of shit once again. We're just setting it up like, of course she cheated. Look how bad her husband is.
Mine, seeking, cahooting, conniving away.
Let's list every bad thing we can think of that her husband did to justify the cheating, which is one of the laziest things. I just can't stand when we do that. It's fine that she cheats eventually because he cheated first. He's been getting drunk and he cheated. Her daughter starts to wonder if maybe it's her fault, if maybe it's the daughter's fault. Like, does daddy not love me anymore? And then it's like the text said, oh, wait, I'm kind of writing this where it sounds like she's a lot younger than she actually is. And so it starts saying things like, she's at that age when my hugs have time limits now. I don't know, it just does not sound like a 14-year-old. I don't think a 14-year-old asks, is dad drinking because he doesn't love me anymore? I was an alcoholic with a what? No, I was a 14-year-old with an alcoholic dad, and I wasn't asking, is my dad drinking because he doesn't love me anymore? I don't know. My experience isn't everybody's experience, but I'm just saying that this book just does not sound like a 14-year-old is written to sound like an actual 14-year-old. She says that she can't keep up with John's antics anymore, and I'm beginning to favor the ghosts that haunt these halls. At least they are predictable. Yeah, because they don't do anything. It's easy to predict nothing. And then her husband, last night he ravaged me and it hurt. Had he been in his right mind, had he even known who I was, I might have loved it. The aggressiveness, the untamed wildness to it, the loud grunts coming from his throat that I don't think I have ever heard before, except he didn't know who I was. So he was rough with her, and she might have been into it, it says, except he didn't know who I was. In the next chapter, mafioso guy, what is even his name? Is it Ronaldo? I genuinely don't remember. The Phantom of Edgar Allan Poe Manor is how I think of him in my head. The Phantom shows up and she says to him, "You don't want me. So what do you want?" He shakes his head. "I want you so badly it hurts to breathe without you near." This is their first conversation ever. Finally gracing me with his voice. She presses a knife to his throat because of course, like, we have to. It's like a mandatory that we do that. Otherwise the book's just not sexy enough. He brushes my bottom lip with his thumb, staining it with crimson lipstick. See, they didn't have transfer proof in the 1940s. Gigi, you gotta get that transfer proof. But then she wouldn't be able to kiss her journals. She kisses her own journal and puts it in the papers. So there's a lipstick kiss on every single paper. Actually, Natalie, when she realized that when the book was in black and white, she had a whole meltdown about this in her kitchen. I was there, I filmed it. Because there was like a whole thing about the color of the lipstick, except it doesn't even matter because the book is in black and white. Anyway, Gigi kisses her own. Gigi's lipstick is like a whole thing in this book. "You possess my lungs as you do my heart, Genevieve." Why is this book continually talking about lungs? What are we doing with the lungs? What's oi with the lungs? "You possess my lungs as you do my heart, and I intend to take yours for myself." Her lungs or her heart? Both? Which organs are we harvesting in this dark romance? Just a question. "I will bleed for you, Mia Rosa, but I must require you to bleed for me too." "Stop it," she says. "I don't want to hurt you." "You would have fulfilled many of my desires if you had." See, that's weird because now we're shifting over to he wants to be hurt by her, whereas earlier he says that he wants to hurt her. If he just wants her to top him, I'm not against it. But what we heard earlier was, "I want to hurt her and do non-husbandy things to her, even when she asked me to stop." If you just want to be like, have a mommy dommy, like, I'm cool with that. But that's not what we said earlier. "What's your name?" "Ronaldo." "Do you want to hurt me, Ronaldo?" "Never. I only want to cherish you, Genevieve." No, earlier you said you wanted to hurt her, so. "How do you know my name?" "I know everything about you, just as I know you will love me too." That answer arrests the oxygen in my lungs. Oi with the lungs! It arrests the oxygen. Didn't read the oxygen, it's Miranda rights too. I know what arrest means in this context. I'm just saying, what a goofy ass sentence. "The oxygen in my lungs is arrested, and this line is here because we needed another place to put the word lungs." "Will you kiss me?" he asks quietly, gravel lining his throat. It's the second time we've used gravel in this scene alone, or gravelly. Synonyms where? Time ceases to exist outside of the way he moves his mouth over mine. Over? On mine? I don't know. After this, she talks about, like, he leaves, obviously, and they just have this, like, weird dynamic where he just shows up, gives her a weird smooch, has a overly dramatic conversation, and, you know, books it. I think a better setup for this would have been that he had to stay at their house and watch her, and they knew about this. Instead, he was just sent there to do I don't know what by the lead mafia guy who he grew up with and works for. I think a better setup would have been like, you owe me money. This guy is going to watch you and live in your house until you produce the money so that you can't run away. And if you try to leave, then this guy, Ronaldo, is going to kill your wife and daughter. Except instead of doing that, he falls in love with the wife and daughter while he's on this, I don't know, anti-bodyguard mission. And instead it's just like, go to this guy's house for what? We don't know. And then he falls in love with his wife from seeing her outside of a window. Okay, I guess. She notices that the relationship between her husband and their daughter is starting to crumble. She's getting really upset. She's, of course, writing in her journal. "I've long since written in my journal for the night, staining my rage in ink." What? Staining my rage in ink? Is the paper your rage? What? "So I grab a Virginia Woolf novel, To the Lighthouse, from my nightstand, hoping to preoccupy my mind while I wait." Of course, we just like name drop authors. Edgar Allan Poe, Virginia Woolf, Mary Shelley. So he's been just hanging out at her house. She starts getting more and more accustomed to him being around. "We've stripped ourselves raw and have shared secrets and dreams that neither of us has confessed to another soul. I've watched her timidness melt away as she grew accustomed to my presence, trusting even." That's it. That's all we get to know about them forming a bond with each other. That's it. I'm not joking. That's it. It's just like, and then they talked. Well, what did they say? What specifically? I would like to be there. I'm the reader. I would like to know. Instead, I'm about to get back to back to back, badly written, spicy scenes. And I'm just supposed to assume I know things about these people that we could have written down, but then we didn't use our word count to actually write characters. We've stripped ourselves raw. Can I see it? I don't mean the naked kind, I mean you. I want to know about you so that I can actually give a shit. That's in fact what I'm supposed to be doing as the reader. I'm supposed to give a shit. We shared secrets. Like what? Dreams. Like what? What are your dreams? What? Who are you? Who even are you? You are a stranger. So John assaulted her. She's visibly upset. He comes into her house and she's trying to calm down. All the while I remind myself that I can't kill someone if I don't know who they are yet. It really annoys me when and I've seen this in a lot of books, not just romance, dark romance. I don't like when a main character makes another person's trauma about themselves immediately. I'm mad. I want to get revenge on the person who did this. I don't even know what happened, but I'm already centering my anger towards this random person who upset this. I don't like that. I, again, find it very lazy. He came home sauced again last night. Oh, brother. Will you tell me what he's done? Ronaldo, I don't want you to hurt him. If she's fearful for his life, then he's done something that deserves retribution, and that has a rage so black, polluting my insides. My organs feel like they're wilting and rotting beneath it. I'm surprised we didn't bring up lungs again. He just demanded a marital duty from me, and I told him no, but he didn't listen. I stand so abruptly, she gasps. I hold up my pointer finger at her. Oh, sorry. Silently asking for a moment. My vision is completely snuffed. The average human is capable of a wide range of emotions, yet I can't seem to feel outside of the verge for violence. This is so self-centered. There's a beast I contain deep inside of me. It's a side of me I scarcely let free. Bruh, you regularly kill people and feel good about it. What are you talking about? There are many men who are raised to believe that they have ownership of their wives' bodies. And there are many women who are raised being told to give that autonomy away. You said earlier that you want to make her blow you until she's asking you to stop and then keep going. But that's not how I was raised. According to my mother, my father didn't stand for the mistreatment of women, and neither do I. For John to force himself on Genevieve is one of the worst things a man can do to a woman. He violated her. He stripped her of her humanity and took something from her she was not willing to give. And then later, they're both talking about how they want to tie John down and force him to watch them have sex, which also is stripping John of his autonomy. You hurt people, don't you, Ronaldo? Yeah, apparently in all of the conversations that they had bearing their souls to one another, they didn't talk about what he does for work, or all those secrets that they shared didn't include the fact that he kills people and likes it. So what did they talk about? I don't know! She asked him not to hurt her husband because they have a daughter together. As much as it pains me to look at him, I don't wish to see him dead. It would devastate my daughter if she lost him. That hurts worse. That hurts so much worse than anything he could ever do to me. I know it's hard to understand, but even if not for me, please do it for Sarah. The fact that she has to ask him not to center himself in this situation is gross and shitty. If I'm supposed to be falling for this guy or rooting for these two people, I am not. I've never met a mother as selfless as her. My mother lost herself after my father died. She held on for years, but by the time she passed, I no longer recognized her. I didn't hate her for loving him so much, but I resented her for loving him more than me. Promise me you will have no part to play in his death. She asks him to distract her, and he tells her a story about how he got a wound from saving a baby raccoon when he was 15. This is useless information that never comes up again. This would have been a good time for him to divulge something that would have made him more endearing to the reader, and instead he just talked about a baby raccoon. She asks him, why do you call me Mia Rosa? And he says, I call you my rose because for you I would take all your pain so you would suffer none. I would go through hell for you, die for you, do anything you asked. I love you, Mia Rosa, more than you will ever know. When did y'all fall in love? I'm looking and I'm not fucking finding it. So then we switch to the next chapter, and of course there's a journal entry, completely useless. I think I love Ronaldo. Another terrible thing for me to write as a married woman, yet I still do not feel any regret for my words. Before Ronaldo arrived, I was in an unimaginable amount of pain after what John did to me last night. And then it turns into her just being like, well, I felt better because Ronaldo comforted me. You were assaulted. Okay. In her POV, it says, my heart is racing and I'm not entirely sure why. Lies. You know exactly why. It's been years since I felt this nervous. The butterflies in my stomach and I are old friends. We spent most days getting to know one another, sharing our childhoods and stories from our youth. Oh, like the baby raccoon? Anything else? Anything you want to share with the class? Aside from a few stolen kisses and his holding me in his arms, he's kept his hands to himself. At first I was thankful, far too shaken to even desire a man's touch, but now I crave it. I want him to replace that terrible memory of her being assaulted. That's not how that worked. Her husband, meanwhile, is of course out of control. He's punching holes in the walls. He's out of control. There's only one facet I have control of, and that's Ronaldo's affection. I want to know what being loved, truly loved by Ronaldo feels like, and I want him to know what it's like to be truly loved by me. Once again, his piercing stare has her completely arrested. We're just using the word arrested willy-nilly at this point. A corner of his mouth quirks up, suspending further oxygen from reaching my lungs. Oi with the lungs! This man, ... he will be the death of me. Mia Rosa, he greets me, his deep volcanic voice as smooth as lava, yet as rough as the rock that inhabits it. You look like you have something on your mind. I love you. I hope you weren't hoping for a romantic moment, because that was entirely unromantic of me. I'm a little ashamed. If I could, I'd lower to a knee on this checkered floor. Why are we bringing up the checkered floor? Any random moment and opportunity this book can take to bring up lungs and the fact that she has white and black checkered floor in her Edgar Allan Poe inspired gothic house that killed 5 construction workers. Oy vey! I'd lower a knee on this checkered floor and ask for your hand. It would be entirely unromantic of me, but it wouldn't stop me either. Ha ha. I want you to touch me, Ronaldo, please. God, I hope my neighbors can't hear me. She wears a raven pendant. I found it in a boutique years ago. It reminded me of my favorite Edgar Allan Poe poem. Good. Okay, great. This isn't really channeling 1944 Gothic manner as much as it is Tumblr in the 2000s. Your clothes would look so much better on the floor though, don't you think? On the floor? I repeat dumbly? Oh, brother. This is a married woman who has had sex. So she's thinking about how the fact that she's cheating, but John hasn't, except for that one time that he did. John has done terrible things, yet I cannot say with confidence that he's ever stepped out on our marriage. Aside from that one night, when he just mistook me for another woman, I haven't seen any other indication that he's strayed. I've never smelled the perfume of another woman on his clothes, or seen red lips imprinted on his shirt collar that didn't come from my kiss. He's hardly looked at another woman in the years we've been together. Let's say I was the person that your spouse cheated with. I typically don't wear lipstick when I'm not working, and I don't wear perfume because it gives me migraines. I'm just gonna slide right under the radar as a mistress goes, right? So I just feel like that, I don't know, that line didn't really need to be there. Like, those are not the only indicators of a cheating husband, I fear. And also, what if he cheated with a man? I don't know what John's doing. I don't know John. I don't even know Gigi. I don't know any of these people. They're not really people. They're just shoddily built things that got shoved in here that I'm supposed to give a shit about, apparently. I mean, like, old Pringles can has more character than these characters. Now I'm just getting hungry. Where the fuck are my granola bars? Speaking of hungry, I think this blouse would be a fine addition to the checkered pattern. Oh my god, enough. It talks about what kind of underwear she's wearing because, you know, it's the 1940s. She's wearing like very specific underwear. The war going on, many military and workforce women wear slacks for necessity and comfort. Oh wait, she is wearing slacks. Okay. Nothing can compare to the likes of you, my love. You are the most beautiful flower and the rarest gem, more breathtaking than any of the earth's wonders. I'm utterly speechless over his proclamation. That's it? Girl, the bar is in hell. And it gets worse. You've made a mess. Your is weeping for me. And it is weeping and crying out for him too. Will you touch me there? I asked boldly. This is a woman who has had a child and sex repeatedly. He says he's curious about how far you would go to feel me inside you, and if by the time I give in, you could drown me with your
Biggest soup leak we've ever had.
When you become the ocean, I will gladly sink into you.
The soup can factory is 6 feet under broth. Likely no survivors.
At the beginning of the next chapter, we get a journal entry from her where she recounts this. Ronaldo likes to tease. I told him to touch me. I begged him for it. He resisted at first, but he didn't take long for him to concede. They fool around a little bit. The point is, next chapter, she makes him cookies, and she's staring at the chocolate chip cookies as if they're centipedes, something he confessed he's terrified of that might chase him away. They're just cookies, for God's sake. But what if he hates them? What if he hates chocolate? I should have made sugar cookies. You said you bore your souls to each other. You don't know what kind of cookies this man likes? Stop it. It says that they are growing more accustomed to each other's touch, more kissing and heavy petting. The phrase heavy petting makes me want to curl up and die. My lips have been too darn preoccupied to ask him a simple question. Do you like cookies? But it said that you guys bore your souls to each other. So again, I have to ask as the reader, what the fuck did y'all talk about? Don't worry, he says, I love them. Why do you keep making me chase you? She asks. Because I don't know that I'd handle it well if you ran away. There isn't a life where I wouldn't be your phantom or a death where I wouldn't be your reaper. What? What? What are you talking about? We're just saying things to sound cool at this point. God, just like put it on a Hot Topic t-shirt at this point. If you tried to run away from me, I don't think I'd let you. I would do anything to make you stay. There are things I want to do that might cause you to run, and I'm afraid of that, so I walk away first. You think you'll scare me, that you'll make me scream, yet screaming for you is exactly what I would love to do, Ronaldo. They fool around like actually this time. He asks, have you ever touched yourself? Baby, tell me at least you've had an orgasm before. I don't know. How would I know if I have? Oh my God, we're gonna move on. Now I wish I had thought to touch myself. My mother never taught me anything about intimacy, and I never learned much from John either, other than how to fall pregnant. Sex has always felt nice, but there wasn't anything about it that made me feel inclined to seek that pleasure on my own. Okay, sure. A single touch, and he's already surpassed John. Well, of course, because, you know, he's the biggest dick to ever dick, as usual. Your is soaked. Is that normal for you? No. Should it be? Only for me, he responds darkly. He drives a digit inside of me. I have never felt less aroused. She unclips her bra, freeing her breasts. It's at this point that I actually looked up whether or not bras in the 1940s had clasps like that. They in fact do. So research was done. Huzzah. Then he gives her an anatomy lesson of her own body. This is your baby, and if you rub it just like this, you'll make yourself come easily. She tells him to do whatever he wants with it. You think I need your permission to play with this pretty pussy whenever I please? This is so unsexy to me. I would dare to do so with your husband right next to us, forced to watch while I lick you and you. None of you could do a damn thing about it. What if I fought you, pleaded for you to stop? It would only be a shame if you didn't cry too. Hey, red flags galore here. It's just if John said this, he would be bad, but because Ronaldo's hotter, it's fine? That's lazy. I soon understand what he's doing. He's testing me, presenting me with a fantasy in which I'd only enjoy my power being stripped away. Hold on, so you don't know what a is, but you understand that he's insinuating this is power play? What? A fantasy that will still keep me up at night, but only because I'm aroused by the thought of it. But you don't know what a is. When this woman orgasms, it's violent every time, like it's a scream every time. She feels like she's going to pee, of course she does. I don't know what's happening, she says. My head kicks back, I'm careening over the edge with a violent scream, though it's no less devastating than the explosion that rocks through me, and I lose my ever-loving mind to it. My body is completely possessed and I no longer control any part of it. Butterflies writhe and thrash senselessly in my stomach. He's dripping stuff of his own into her palm. His hand has a bunch of her stuff in it and he drinks it.
Biggest soup leak.
And then she thinks about how mad she is that her husband has been orgasming this whole time and she hasn't. And now, how will she ever stop? We, after this, get some Mafia stuff with some man named Manny Baldelli. I don't even remember who this is. I can't even recount this to you. All I know is he goes and kills people with his Tommy gun.
I believe you, but my Tommy gun don't.
And then I whistle a Frank Sinatra tune as I stroll to my car, thinking nothing more of seeing Genevieve Parsons again. And then his boss says that John, Gigi's husband, still owes him money. Take his broad hostage until he pays his dues. My teeth clench. Decades of practice keep my fists from curling. And this is difficult for him because Angelo, the guy who runs the Mafia, is his only family. After his dad died in World War I and his mom sort of wasted away, Angelo's family took him in. And now he's in conflict between Angelo and Gigi because if John doesn't pay up, then he's going to have to take Gigi hostage. This doesn't even fucking happen. Not only is Genevieve my sole reason for living, but she's also the piece of shrapnel that I can't seem to remove. She's a weakness, and one day she might just be the death of me. Gigi, meanwhile, has been refusing to do anything with John because, again, he sexually assaulted her. I worry my refusal will cause him to snap again. He's attempted to reconcile multiple times, speaking of having needs. Before, I wouldn't have understood that need. Now, I know exactly what he means. Yet I can't find it in me to care. The only needs I do care about are mine and Ronaldo's. Worse yet, the stupid man leaves me hanging. You were assaulted. This is a weird way to write about your feelings after having been assaulted. Her and John get into an argument because he's Like, what are you writing about in that journal that's so much more important than paying attention to your family? This diary is all I have, and you will not take that away from me. It's a diary. You've changed, Gigi. I don't even recognize you anymore. It's a diary. I'm the result of your betrayal. You gambled away our life savings. You nearly made us homeless, our daughter homeless. You come home drunk every night. You slept with me once thinking I was another woman.
You was here last night, too, wasn't you?
I was singing at the Blue Monkey last night.
And then last time you forced yourself on me. We're not equals, Genevieve. I am the husband who goes to work 5 days a week for 10 hours straight. You have no idea what I deal with there, the amount of stress I'm under, not to mention the war going on. I have friends fighting right now, and I have no idea if I'm ever going to see them again. Then I come home and I have to be a husband and a father. I have to make you two happy, buy whatever you ask for, hear about your days, and make sure that both of you feel loved. You have such a terrible life, don't you? Your business is thriving, Jonathan. You're successful. You are bringing more money home than you've ever seen in your life doing a job you love. And you're right, there is a war going on, one you don't have to fight in. You sit in your cushy chair in a skyscraper office with a beautiful view. Did they have skyscrapers in 1944? I won't allow you to divorce me, Gigi. Not with Sarah. The courts would refuse me a divorce anyway, not unless Sarah and I were in grave danger. And even then, it would be a battle that would cost us more than it may be worth. So at this point, if they bared their souls to each other. Yeah, she must know that he works for the Mafia. She must know he's involved in organized crime. She must know something about the Mafia, right? Just ask for help. Ask your boyfriend for help. Ronaldo offers to pay off the rest of the money that John owes. And he convinces Angela it's because he loves their house. But he knows that things are going to get bad if Angelo finds out what's going on between him and Gigi. He does fail. I don't remember how. Angelo beats the shit out of Ronaldo. You interfered with my order and now the swine owes me even more money. Oh wait, no, he didn't talk to Ronaldo about the mortgage. He paid off the mortgage to somebody else, and then Angelo found out, and then this was a problem somehow, and now Angelo's beating the shit out of him, but he had to do it, or else this other guy, Paulie, who works for the Mafia, was going to take Genevieve hostage. All I want that woman to do is love me like I love her. I want it to be all-consuming, to be so goddamn deep a lobotomy couldn't even carve me out of her head. All right. He can work for free until it's paid off. He has the potential to become a big earner for us. Are you asking me to give John a pass? You vouching for him?
What are you, Billy? I'm getting out of here one way or another. Don't make me do it, Billy.
You didn't think we'd come on, did ya?
So then they make a deal that John, now having the debt paid off, has to work for free for Angelo as some sort of financial person. He goes and talks to Gigi while John isn't home, of course. My boss, he was unhappy with the decision I made. Is there anything I can do to make you feel better? Why don't you ask about what's going on? That would be a good idea. He says he's going to make her squeal like a little mouse, which I think Run Little Mouse is a Haunting Adeline reference. They're about to do P&V stuff. I may not read the Bible as a bedtime story, but I am an ant encircled in a circle of salt. Ensnared in a circle of salt, sorry. I'm trapped in the confines of these walls while my husband leaves me here to wander aimlessly. Like, she sees something in her vision and it's the ghost, she assumes. She's like, yeah, let them judge me. They have no purpose to this story, just like her journals, just like everything. Unlike the ghosts, I have a life to live, and I might as well enjoy it before I join their miserable souls in the afterlife, which is going to be what happens to her. We don't see that in the book for some reason, but it is what happens to her. She sashays towards him, swinging her hips and drawing his hungry gaze to them. Is he imagined holding on to them as he drives himself inside me? It decides to mention now, we don't talk about the specifics of his secreted job, but for some reason, seeing him without his hat and the bruises marring his face, the first impression that I get is that this man is a mafioso. No! What tipped you off? No way! I can't believe they haven't talked about this. This is ridiculous. He takes off his clothes and it says, my God, he is a god. Is this the best that we could do? He is far bigger than I've seen. You've seen one dick out of two. Sure, if we're talking about 4 to 8 dicks, yeah, maybe we can do some comparisons, but you've seen 2, including the one you're staring at. And I'm faced with the reality that I can't recall if I've ever seen John's penis. Then whose other dicks were you saying? My own husband, and I don't even know what he looks like. He's never been so inclined to show me as Ronaldo is. That is a dangerous weapon. If only it could win the war. If only it could win the war. I'm imagining him saying it like this and swinging it around. It won me, I confess. Is that enough? No. It's enough to make me vomit. There's nothing more divine than a that weeps. It would be an honor to taste you, Genevieve. You taste like Nirvana. A mafioso in 1944 is familiar with the concept of Nirvana? Interesting. I could drown in your
Likely no survivor.
Next chapter is in his POV. Despite how soaked she is, she's a virgin to my size, so I force myself to allow her to adjust. A futile effort. When I'm halfway, I become impatient. Of course, it does that thing that way too many books are doing where the woman says, oh my God, during sex, and the man says, not even God can have you. You're mine and you will only pray to me. Like Fourth Wing does this. I just read another book that did it. She arrives. Her release floods past my rooster and splatters onto my stomach, and a scream unleashes from her throat. My name becomes a chant as her arrival rolls through her. It splatters on your stomach. Wow, it really shot out of there, huh? But then if he's above, then it's just going to fall back down, no? So then does it re-splatter on her own body? Anyway, I'm thinking too much into this. Is this what John, in her POV, is this what John felt for the past 16 years every time we made love? The notion almost enrages me. How dare he experience something so mind-bending when I felt nothing like that? How dare he not even care? John and her get into a fight after this, where he's talking about her duties as a woman, and she hit him, and then he hits her back. So now we've escalated to not just sexual abuse, but physical abuse, like beyond sexual. Sexual abuse is a form of physical abuse. You get what I'm saying. John had never hit me. He'd never raped me either. Yet that's exactly the man he's become. Despite my budding relationship with Ronaldo, it was devastating to experience the exact moment that I gave up on my husband for good. But then he also shares with her that they've caught up on all the bills. I have an unsettling feeling that while John may not owe money any longer, he owes something far greater than that. His life. How would you possibly know that? What context clues are you picking up on? We're just like shortcutting to her figuring things out, but not wholly? I don't get it. Every human on this earth is born pure, and all it takes is one day, one decision to change that forever. Sometimes that damage can last a lifetime. John's transgressions shouldn't be forgotten, even if they were a first. He gambled away everything we had and put our daughter at risk of becoming homeless. I mourn the death of our marriage, but I can't find it in me to forgive him, nor can I find it in me to fall back in love with him again. To put it simply, John Parsons doesn't deserve my love. Not anymore. Of course, we're just like setting it up to make the audience feel like shitting on John is fine, and anything that we say regarding like John being murdered or forced to watch his wife get fucked is fine because John's a bad man. She is then forced to go to a party at Angelo, the mafia runner's house, because John now works for Angelo. She doesn't really understand what's going on. John has a friend who also happens to be a police officer, and his friend is like, hey, you and I should just leave. We can go back to your house and listen to some records. And she's like, what? What do you mean? He's like, well, we're not forced to be here. Only John is forced to be here, and we shouldn't be here. We should go. And I was like, what is happening? What's going on here? Like, why is this conversation happening? And then he gets annoyed that she doesn't want to leave with him. It took me talking to Natalie about this and us figuring out what happened together for us to come to an understanding on this. He was mad that she doesn't want to fuck him. Frank, John's friend. And later, when the book ends on a cliffhanger, literally and figuratively, well, definitely literally, but it just sort of ends abruptly. You don't find out that what happens is you find out in Haunting Adeline what actually happened to Gigi is that Frank murdered her. And we don't set that up in this book at all other than this very confusing scene. We could have, we just never took the time to do it, just like we never took the time to cultivate an actual relationship between the two love interests in this book. Why would Frank push his best friend into the line of Angelo's gun? I don't know. We never set it up here. It's just randomly, somehow, she's so beautiful that everybody's in love with her, and Frank kills her over it. I guess, I don't know, because it doesn't happen in this book. It gets mentioned in Haunting Adeline. Her and John talk about whether or not he actually works for Angelo. He basically just lies about it. She knows he's lying. She goes to the powder room to take a powder, and into the bathroom strolls, of course, our main man, Ronaldo, who is also working for Angelo. What are you, his hitman or something? Apparently it's fine for him to be Angelo's hitman, but it's not fine for John to be Angelo's accountant. Like, neither of these things are fine. I'm just saying the character has double standard, and we're not engaging with that, and that's annoying to me because I don't understand why. I don't understand why. And instead of dealing with this in an appropriate way, the book just points out that she has a double standard, then does nothing about it. Funny how I was just berating John for getting involved in the mafia, and here this man is boldly telling me he chooses to kill for them. Yes. And now let's grapple with that. Does John work for him too? Yes. He explains like the dynamic. He paid off their mortgage. Now John works for Angelo. Ronaldo basically saved them. He'd admitted who he worked for before, but he has never lied to me. Cool. That doesn't make him better than John. He literally shot a woman in the head recently. Am I in danger with you? Should I be screaming for my life right now? Yes. I've always been a danger to you. You've never been safe from me. What does that even mean? Did you think I was lying when I said there are things I want to do to you that would make you want to run away? If I run away, you can't stop. I know deep in my bones that Ronaldo would never hurt me. Not like John has. You have no reason to believe that, actually, and neither do I as the reader. He said he was, at the beginning of this book is like, I want to make her blow me until she's begging me to stop, and then keep going and watch her eyes fill with tears. Like, that doesn't sound like he wouldn't hurt her. In fact, it very explicitly said that he wants to hurt her. We can't do this here. Who's gonna stop me? You? He slams inside of her. Don't think I won't kill every goddamn person in this house to save you from shame. My will leak down your thighs while you're dancing with your husband. If you dare to wipe it away, I'll expose you in front of everyone and make him swallow it. Okay. Of course, the next chapter opens with a journal entry where she explains, I can't believe I discovered today John is working for the Mafia. We know! I saw it happen! You don't need to waste more time on this. And then also talking about how Ronaldo admitted her to her that she's killed people. I know. I just watched the bathroom scene. You don't have to reiterate through the letters. I already saw it. In the next chapter, they talk a little bit about her journal and whether or not he would ever be allowed to read it. But then she's like talking about how she tried to practice giving a blowjob on a banana. Yeah. You're tracking. No, that's what happened. You heard me correctly. I never thought I'd see a day, she's saying this to him, where I'm stuffing a banana down the back of my throat, but my mind goes blank and my vision blurs as I rush to her. I'm across the room in mere seconds. She yelps when I rip the journal from her grasp, sending it flying with one hand and fisting her curls with the other. Never in my 36 years did I imagine a woman's putting a piece of fruit down her throat would threaten to send me to my knees. If you wanted to practice, baby, I'm happy to oblige. I rip the belt from the loops, lean forward, wrapping the leather around her wrists. Then she, proceeds to do the job. God, baby, you me so pretty. What would your husband think of seeing you like this, gagging on my... He'd be devastated watching his innocent wife choking me down like a little... It would torture him, wouldn't it? Knowing that he would never fill your throat like I do. He can't even fill your cunt like I can. I'll make him watch while I fuck you like you deserve. Then I'll cut off his hands and his cock so he can never touch you again. She's like, mascara running down her face. I mourn that I'm unable to take a photograph of her like that. I'd never let it go, carrying it around with me for my eyes only. Such a pretty whore for me. If I were your whore, you'd fuck my mouth like one. I lose it. She dares tempt a beast, and I'm happy for her to suffer those consequences. This woman didn't know what a clit was, but she knows dirty talk. Okay, sure. In chapter 28, he tells her to sit on his lap and bring her journal with her. This is not plot. There is no plot. Everything is nonsense and no plot. I'm losing steam here. I need another monster. I left one in the freezer. So he has her sit on his eggplant. I'm giving you the material. Now write. He expects me to write when all I want to do is him. You are literally him. You are a stay-at-home mom. You tell me you can't multitask? I watched you for weeks, and most of the time you didn't know I was there. There were moments when I pictured this exactly, sitting beneath you while you wrote, your stuffed with my cock and leaking all over my lap. I imagine those pretty red lips begging me to fuck you. Genevieve, put the journal down. I'm not finished. Don't you want to hear what I wrote? It's about you. I told Ronaldo that I'd never touched myself before, and at the time that was true, but since then I've done it many times, sometimes even right next to my husband while he sleeps. I reach down into my undergarments and feel how wet I was. It was so hard to stay quiet, whispering Ronaldo's name. So then she makes him beg her to, go to Pound Town, calls him a good boy, which at least we're doing good boy this time. At least we're switching it up. But then, of course, it doesn't switch it up and says the thing that all these books say that I cannot stand, which is, I want you to milk my... Listen, I'm not a huge fan of dairy either way, so bringing it into this just makes me want to die. It's Christmas time now.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
And it's also his birthday time. The only thing I want for my birthday and Christmas is your love and maybe your pretty on my face. Wow, okay. I don't think Santa can deliver that. He gives her a rose brooch, which, nothing comes of this. I assume that's probably brought up in Haunting Adeline, but I have not read Haunting Adeline, and this should be able to stand on its own. It's a full-length book, but okay. And then, at the beginning of the next chapter, we have the stuff that she was writing while they were boinking told to us again. It's verbatim, completely unnecessary. And also the idea that this is written down and that Adeline is reading this in the future, reading about her grandma saying, I'm so full and he expects me to write when all I want to do is fuck him, is so gross. Listen, my great grandma was really messy. She had my grandpa with some guy, put him in foster care, abandoned her oldest daughter, and then after my grandpa was like a few years old and she never came back for him, she took up having an affair with a married man who also had multiple kids. And I have letters that they wrote to each other. And this guy got so mad at her one time. Carlos and I reference this letter all the time. He got so mad at her for not contacting him sooner via letter while he was at war, by the way. And his wife was home with 3 sons. So messy. He says something to the effect of, I was so mad at you, I wanted to give you a good crack. Yeah, this guy is not my great grandfather. And if he was, I would go back in time and I would tell him, don't write that. I don't want to set eyes on that in the future, but I did. He's not my great-grandfather, but he did have a child with my great-grandmother. And the idea that my poor great-aunt had to read those words from her father to her mother, in an affair no less. Anyway, the point is, if I were Adeline, these letters would make me want to die. Chapter 29, Gigi's POV. This is January. I'm in so much trouble. The front door slams and I wince. Dread weighs down my bones as Ronaldo storms into the room, fury in his eyes. He's livid. Why did you let him kiss you? I didn't let him. He took me by surprise. Ronaldo was hiding in the tree line this morning. John and Sarah left for a day trip, and John, her husband, gave her a kiss, and now her boyfriend is mad at her for it.
You've been spooching with everybody. Snuffy, Al, Leo.
Have you been kissing him all this time? Yeah, they've been married for like 15 years, my guy. No, I haven't let him kiss me since what he did. I could kill him. I would have no qualms ending his pathetic life, Genevieve. I dream about it, and the only reason I don't is because of you. Because of Sarah, their daughter. Do you have any idea how hard it is to love you in the dark when you deserve to be loved in the light? I do know. You deserve that too, Ronaldo. I want to love you openly. Then they talk about how the court would not grant her like a divorce and custody. And he's like, have you tried? Do you understand what it's like knowing that when I leave here, another man takes my place? You're taking his place. He sleeps in your bed. He's the first person you see when you wake up. You're not the only one who suffers when he's near. I am destined to love you from the shadows, Mia Rosa. I will never be more than your phantom. Could you be dead? I think that'd be preferable for me, at least. You work for one of the biggest criminals in the country, Ronaldo. You are a criminal. Something I've overlooked because I know you are also a good man. He murders people. When have you seen him be a good man? Was I there for that? I missed it. What do you want, Genevieve? Whatever it is, I'll grant it to you. I just want you. So then it is your phantom I will be. And then, of course, next chapter is her telling us in diary format about this again. Ronaldo and I argued yesterday. I know, girl, I was there. I saw the whole thing. He's doing mafia stuff in the next chapter, and it says, the need to kill. It's like a parasite beneath my flesh, taking control over my bodily function until the only thing I'm capable of is death. Since when? Since when? This has not come up at all. So he goes to some other mafioso's house, and this guy is the guy they're supposed to kill. They walk into a room, and he's getting a BJ. The upper rooms were soundproof, so the other people that they killed, the people, doing the nasty, didn't hear, and now they walk into this room. They're doing the nasty. I laugh, aim my weapon, and unload several bullets into the two of them. Their screams quickly die out as blood sprays from multiple points of their body. He gets shot in the shoulder, and then another mafia guy who's not on the same team as him. You're a good man, Ronnie, but you're blind to your friend. You know as well as I do. Manny is the rightful godfather. The Salvatore stole his birthright from beneath him, and any man with honor would never respect that. You speak of honor, yet you refuse to acknowledge that the Baldelli's great-grandfather had no ties to the mob. He was a cafone in an empty suit, desperate to belong to something that was never his to claim. I forgot all of this because none of it actually matters. So they kill these guys. Manny was the guy that they were there to kill. He and Angelo Angelo, the mob guy, the mafioso, the godfather. He and Angelo finally talk about how he's in love with Genevieve. He saw them sneak off to the powder room together at the party. He's like, you saved John for her. You love her. Since when, he asks, and I'm like, oh, bitch, I'm also asking that question. Since fucking when? When the fuck did that happen? Since I first saw her, truthfully. It's like that TikTok again. Our affair has been going on for quite some time. He explains that John doesn't know, that they have a daughter, And Angela's like, well, I know a judge who would accommodate anything that we asked of him. He's also starting to open up to Genevieve about how he's killing people for the mob. This isn't a life I can walk away from, my love, but as Angela told me, it is one that will allow me to retreat into the shadows, and for you, I would do that. I can't guarantee things will always be safe, but I can guarantee that as long as I breathe, I would always stand between you and a bullet. Sarah, too. He's never had a conversation with her daughter, by the way. So then she's like, all right, just wait 4 years until Sarah is 18, and then I will divorce John and we will be together. Because Angelo knows a judge, he will grant Gigi a divorce. They're making plans. They're making moves. Do you think he'd let me keep Parsons Manor? Oh yeah, she doesn't want to go without her ghost-haunted, Edgar Allan Poe-inspired checkered floor manor. They, of course, fool around again, and he starts choking her. I quite like the way she wears fear, so I squeeze tight, a squeak slipping through before I sever her oxygen. Instantly, her cheeks redden and her body shudders beneath me. Yet another moment where I wish I could photograph her staring up at me just like that. You look so pretty when you're desperate, my needy little Was Dirty Talk the same in 1944? I'd venture a guess no, but I'm no historian. Can I get a sex historian in here to answer that question for me? Were our grandparents and great-grandparents saying needy little back then too? I don't actually want to know about my own grandparents, but if I could get like a gist of how Dirty Talk was going back then, I'd be interested. This is what I feel when you're near, so completely taken by you that I can't fucking breathe. Her clamps down on me. Oh, brother. He once again says milk my because this book just does nothing other than repeat itself in every possible way. So this is towards the end of the book. She pretends to be going on a trip with her friend Daisy, who again never comes on page, completely worthless. She's going away for a weekend with Daisy. John's like, I don't know if I'd survive if anything happened to you, which is a weird thing to say for her to just be going on a trip to the Oregon coast for a weekend with her girlfriend. Mama, do you have to go away? Says the 14-year-old. Ever since I construed my little lie about going on a girls' trip with Daisy this weekend, she's been in a mood. She tends to get moody if I'm away for too long. It's a weekend. She's 14. I go on one every year with Daisy. So, of course, her dad gets her to comply by saying, I'll let you eat as much ice cream as you want. Now listen, I can bribe my 14-year-old niece with monster cookies, but she doesn't talk like this because she's 14. Will you bring me back something? She stares up at me with puppy dog eyes. I always do. Now quit playing with your food and eat it. You have school in 10 minutes. Fine, but I expect a really cool present. This doesn't sound like a 14-year-old. Like I asked my niece, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And she goes, it's expensive, but I really want a printer for my Instax camera because she's really into taking photos. I got her an Instax camera like years ago and she's still using it. She's very responsible. I love her so much. Actually, quick thing, somebody keeps asking me who made my intro and out music. It was my niece. I commissioned her to make them. She has no internet presence whatsoever, which thank goodness, because I don't think that kids should be on the internet the way you and I are on the internet. But yeah, my niece made it. She's very talented. She's very smart. And yeah, so I know from talking to her that this is just not how 14-year-olds talk. So her and not Daisy, definitely her boyfriend Ronaldo, are the ones going on a trip. And they're talking about things that somehow have not come up even though they've, bared their souls to each other. What do you think you'd do for work if you weren't a mobster? You may find it odd, but I would have loved to research snakes. Snakes? Why on earth would you research snakes?
It's me, Snakes.
She says she doesn't like snakes, and he says, I'll just have to dream about you naked in my bed then. A python wrapped around your throat and holding you still for me while I feast on you and you. Is the python a willing participant in this? Because I feel like that's not really fair to the python. Hilariously, python is not a euphemism for here. Who'd have thought? He's like, what if John and Daisy run into each other? She says she lives far away, which is something that he should know, being her boyfriend, about her best friend Daisy. But okay, we've been taking these girls' weekends for over a decade. We drive down to the Oregon coast, we rent a little cabin in the mountains and enjoy the misty rain while we gossip and relax by a fire. Honestly, that sounds dope. But did people do that with their girlfriends in the 1940s? Genuinely, I don't know. Daisy doesn't even like John, so now we've made it even easier for the audience to hate John because the unseen best friend Daisy doesn't like him either. And Daisy would think that Ronaldo's more handsome too. Truthfully, there isn't even a competition. I can't believe we're going to waste an entire paragraph on this. John isn't a bad-looking man by any means, but he is not Ronaldo. Then maybe you should spread those legs so you can show me how pretty you look when you come for me. Whoa! How did we get here? The next chapter opens with her explaining that they were fooling around while he was driving and they almost crashed. They apparently go to a coffee shop which had croissants, the most delicious croissants I've ever had. you've had croissants before. I don't know, maybe I just don't really understand the 1940s, but I just didn't think that the 1940s in Oregon looked like now in Oregon. But all right, I guess. I don't know. Again, I'm not a historian. For the first time in 16 years, I feel free. Right now, I'm not a mother, I'm not a wife, I'm just me. But you could have done that with Daisy too. She's starting to ask herself questions. Do I love long walks on the beach at sunset, or do I prefer to watch the sunrise? Am I afraid of the ocean, or do I dare swim out in its depths and let it welcome me in? Is that another Sleep Token reference? I love the written word, but what other forms of artistry do I enjoy? Am I an artist? Can I paint, draw, play an instrument? I can sing, sure. But what if I wanted to sing to thousands? I never thought to ask them before because so much of my life revolved around being a mother and a wife. Even with Daisy and the girls with our annual trips, we were so happy to be away from our houses that we settled into a temporary something, content to relax in a cabin and gossip about the homes we were desperate to escape. Rather than exploring the world and trying new things and discovering who we were outside the rules we were bound in, we locked ourselves in an emptier cage and called it freedom. What? You being with your best friend is an emptier cage? Are you listen, have I told you about my best friend? She also read this book with me. If you locked me in a cabin with my best friend, I would have the most soul-bearing conversations. I don't need a man to do that. I don't need a man to take me to a mountain and me over a cliff in order to ask myself, do I like long walks on the beach or do I prefer a sunrise? What? You needed a man to help you ask that question? This is so lazy. Like, it's fine. They have sex in a waterfall. If I could live with his head between my thighs, I'd keep him fed for as long as he breathes. He'd never go hungry with me in his mouth. That I can be sure of. Great. Wish we had a plot because you know who's hungry? Me! For some substance. There's nothing to eat. I choke, my eyes popping wide from what would have been damn near a violent invasion had I not been sopping wet. A vulgar noise arises when he slowly retreats and then drives back inside me again, earning a sharp cry. A hand curls into my hair and fists tightly. His mouth inches from my ear as he growls, "How cruel is it that Mother Nature spent millions of years forming such a beautiful sight only for you to exceed it within mere minutes?" He's talking about the amount of lubricant she makes. He's saying that her vag makes more lubricant than Mother Nature makes water.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
It's almost too much, and it feels as if the tip of his length is hitting inside of my stomach. Oh, brother. Then they are over a ledge, and it says, we must be over 100 feet in the air, and he's forcing half my body to hang over the edge. Ronaldo, I squeal, but he either doesn't care or doesn't hear me. The harder you struggle, the more you tip over the edge. You wanted to act like a baby, so you're gonna take my cock like one. I'm gonna claim all these tight little holes. My eyes pop wide. Ronaldo, I screech. You're mine, Genevieve. I dare you to fight me. I'd love nothing more than to show you just how helpless you are. I feel so full, almost too full. Maybe I'll tell him the truth, that I was your and let you fuck me anywhere you wanted. Then maybe I'll tell him how much I prefer your cock over his. I cannot imagine having this conversation during sex. That's my good girl. Oh, there it is. You're so good at being my whore, aren't you? This is so boring. Afterwards, she says, thank you for showing me a love for waterfalls. I never knew I loved them. Ah, ha, 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 ha. There are so many more I can take you to. I hope you drown in one. Can we take classes together? We can learn to paint or sketch or maybe even throw pottery. You'll master all of them in no time. Another tear wiggles free, and it feels like my heart is soaring. Will you take me to the desert where it's hot and sandy and there isn't a single tree in sight? I've only ever known the mountains and the ocean. Only if we bring lots of water. Wow, you're not going to make a comment about how much water she makes? I'm shocked. I'm shocked by this. Can we do those things with Angelo as your boss? We could do anything you dream of, Mia Rosa. He owes me his life. But the contracts, undoubtedly, I will miss them. He's talking about murdering people. But there is nothing more fulfilling than you, Genevieve. I will gladly wash my hands clean of blood if it means your hands will replace it. So he has an unquenchable thirst to kill, but then it's fine because he found a girlfriend? You could have killed me, you know. He grins, and though he radiates happiness, there's a seriousness to his stare as he proclaims, I would have followed you. You shouldn't. You have so much life to live, and maybe enough room in your heart to love another. He shakes his head. This is so heavy-handed. There will never be another, nor will I live a life without you. Death awaits us all, Genevieve. Even still, it will not keep me from you. There will never be There will never be sufficient words to respond, so I capture his lips in a passionate kiss, content that no matter what happens, he will always be with me, in life and in death. The next page says, and it's a diary excerpt, May 16th, 1946, I love you, Ronaldo. With every beat of my heart and every fiber of my being, I love you so much. Not even death can take that away from us. The end. That is it. That is all that happens in that book. There was no plot, and you have to read Haunting Adeline to figure out what happened to these people, which I refuse because of my own triggers. But thankfully, my best friend has done an entire breakdown, and she forgot what happened to Gigi. So I called her and I said, what happened to Gigi? Because this book ends on a fucking, I guess you could call it a cliffhanger and also a cliff banging, right? And so she looks it up, and it turns out that Frank murdered Gigi. They figured this out in Haunting Adeline. Frank murdered Gigi, and then Ronaldo died of a broken heart. That is great. That is so wow. I am so happy that this exists. What a fucking waste of time. I just have no words. It's not that this didn't have enough pages or potential to have a plot. We just chose not to. And I'm just wondering why? I really have nothing else to say. I have nothing good to say about this. This had no point or purpose. Sex scenes were just regurgitated nonsense that I've read in every other book. Yeah, take me like a good girl. You're such a little whore. You're such a little slut. Mix it up with a good boy. Oh, you're so wet for me. Milk my cock. Yeah. I'm just so tired of it. Again, I really have nothing else to say. Here's the thing is, I'm not sure that there's really like a mafia romance that I will love. I have read another one and I didn't hate it. It was Ruthie's book, Blood something. I gave it like a 3. It was fine. And Lights Out has a mafia component that I didn't love. I don't know, I'm kind of picky about like mafia romance just because so much of it is like, it's fine when he does it, but not when he does it type shit. But if you have mafia romance recs that you think I might like, then you can feel free to leave them down below. I'm willing to try anything. If you made it this far, please leave a hat emoji in honor of this man's fedora, which was objectively hilarious that it got mentioned that many times. I'm exhausted. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go now. I need to decompress after this. Okay, thanks so much for watching.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
See you next time. Bye.
And a Happy New Year.
And before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend to my Therapy Bills patrons. I will say that these no longer show up on Patreon in alphabetical order, so sorry about that. And those thank yous go to Lex, SJ, Eric, Peggy Lou, Quinn, Rain, Scarlett, John E, Alexander, Samar, Ashley H, DJ Rocktopus, Kaleno K, Emerald Dodge, Ellie, Minby, Steph B, Lemon Jelly, Mixer Boneless, Lily, 3 Raccoons in a Trench Coat, Lady Chips Loves Pride, Call Me Kodiak, Ree Mirage, Katya, Melissa, Kai Brecker has not read 6 of Crows, Lex, Megwin, Maddie Miss, Not So Secretly a Skeleton, Jory, Piloting SRN, Bex, Fox Waifu, Charlie Bear, Ricky Strong. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend. And a quick thank you to my Potato Starch Marxists, Evie, Carlin, Paige P, Sean, Sarah the Bear, Jill, Talia, Corwin, Andy Mations, Darren, Tito Phoenix, Might Be a Magpie, Martin, Artie the Ninth, Hannah C, Shamed, Ava, Malara, Rachel B, Rebecca, Baywing, Amanda, Lustful Octopus, Lady Kittybug, Angelica, Jenny G, JM Tennant, Jay is on Olympus, Laughing Cat Dog, Dorothea Supports Public Education, Nicole G, Colleen, Sarah H, Sheen Onion, Fox Club, Danielle M, Kendra, Sakoria, Kayala, Sadie Selby, Bookish Rabbit, Caitlin M, Rosie Thorns, Penny Chilling, Katie L, Lou Siri, Aaron with 2 E's, Jen Michelle, LP, Jojo Bookish, Jessa Sue, Lazarus Ray, Casper, Genderqueer, Jelly V, Lauren G, Man-Eating Plant, Kate W, Saki Alume, Lindsay M, Gadarn, Dilf Enthusiast, KMTV, Kaylee Carpenter, Alejandra, Desiree Michelle, Darius, Triple M, Saintbringer, Bookish B, Bookish by Jenna, Althea, Megan, Francis, Kate B, Plague Carrier, Jackalope Max, Queen Cereal, Pandemonium, Mataraptor, Rosemary K, Drive By Thinker, Juicy Wizard, Sophie L, Barry B, I Like My Women Like I Like My Books Thick, Mima Who, Katrina, Unicorn Jenny, That One Cute Chick, Harassing, Myth Lesbian, This Is Not a Trap, Laura is Angry, Rhea Slagle, Morgan, Celeste, Macy Jane, Aaron S, Danita M, Cosmic Frog, Jesse, Rach, Kayla Alexander Kenny, Ren, Natural Blues, NM Rap, Che, Jing, Catuary, Taz, Miss Fox and Arda, Mac, Junie for now, Gabby Z, T Foxbones, Pi, Adian, Mia, Fishy Fish, Chloe M, Luke has sleep token brain rot, hell yeah. Kath, Kellen R, Blubbles the Fish, Cass Plays, Jesse M. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend.